Patrick Townley at PTLARTS.com in my studio. Really excited to be able to share some painting, actual painting in action, with more detail than I've been able to do before. It's a bit of a technical leap forward, as you can tell with all the wires and stuff. I'm just finishing off painting Nelson Mandela, and so without further ado, I shall switch to the on canvas camera. Oh, which isn't that one? Yes, indeed it is. It's just, I've swiveled it round. Right, there we are. Okay. So I'm just trying to get it to it. And behind you can see the famous painting of mine. Well, I call it famous because why not? Of John Lennon, which I've done recently. Okay, so I'm making some final adjustments around this area. This area here is not just quite got the depth that I want it. So basically, I start off working with this image on a screen a long way off with acrylics, and then I've put layers and layers of oil on, and now because what I don't want to do is like copy the photograph. What I want to do is get his character, which I feel I've really achieved quite nicely. So this, what I'm not liking, the first thing I'm just going to attack or approach or deal with is this area here, which is his ear. So I've printed out, this is the first time I've worked with a printed out image to help me see what it is I just want to change. So this, the reason, once I've changed this here, then I'll pull this in a little bit as well, tidy it up, and then deal with his hairline so that it doesn't look like he's a judge or something, which it does at the minute. Looks like he's had a wig stuck on top of his head. That's all fine though, that's the way painting goes. For me, in my process, I trust my process. And the whole thing about art is you all have your own ways of doing it. And we pick up tips off of each other, which are helpful. So hopefully this will be helpful to any of you that are. So let me just put a line where I think that should go. Right. So basically it's here, and I want to get some, you see the paint that's already on there. There's paint already on there, which is, I'm going to work in with this warm white. I've picked up some warm white, which will work in nicely. So it's just with this rest of this paint. Okay, so I just wipe my brush a little bit, this little brush, and then I'll see if I can work this paint in. I was working on this yesterday. Like everything else, you go through stages of being disheartened. You just don't think you're ever going to get there. And then something happens. Like today, I've just discovered that I can paint using, I can use this camera, which makes it much better for you guys, for anybody who's going to be watching this in the future, to see what it is that I'm actually doing. It's quite, a lot of people, artists don't really want to do this because you feel a bit exposed, as it were. But for me, it just drives my arts practice on. I haven't been able to get this kind of detail into the film work before, really. So it's really exciting for me. So now I'm just going to find on my palette. I've also decided that I'm going to have to start with a clean palette with my next painting, so that it's easier for you to see my process, and I can't reiterate that enough. It's up to anybody who wants to paint to find their process, not follow. There's absolutely no value in following. So here I'm just starting to work around the hairline, like I said, to blend it in more successfully than I've done already. Needs a slightly darker mix, which I've got here, I think. Just gonna. His eyes are a bit more hooded. Actually, they're not. Now I'm looking at it again. I've painted the eyes pretty well. It's just the darkness. The thing is, just painting this, you can. I mean, this photograph is a black and white photograph. So if you pay too much attention to it, it's really easy to get led astray. The thing I'm trying to do is get Nelson Mandela, an original image, but using, oh, that's why did I want that? I wanted that darker colour. Yeah, that's right, for this. Right, I'll work that in a minute. I also just want it for just a highlight there, just a bit of a highlight there. So I'm really close up to this image now. All I'm trying to do is not concentrate on what I'm doing, but just put where I see the darks and light and where there's slight adjustments to make to the shapes. Like here, for example, there's a bit more light up there. I'll just mutter away as I'm doing it. A bit more light there. It's all real subtle stuff. I'm basically quite pleased with the overall image. I want to darken this. So I've got some super dark stuff here. It stays on my brush and I just keep picking it up with the slightly lighter tone, so I get a congruency and a work through from the hair into here. Some little touches of warm white, whereas I was using titanium before, and I think that's what caused the problem. The warm white mixes in really nicely. So I'm just trying to get these little curls on top of the dark. Gives it more of a congruence. That's starting to look a bit better now. And so his hair actually comes out a bit further there as well. So generally, I was going to change the background to sort of kind of lighter background, but I'm not sure yet. There, so I'm getting a bit more detail into this ear. See, pick up the light that I've got from there. It's picked up a bit of grey as well, so you can get that into this ear. And then just put a little bit more definition on the edge of the ear here, area. Right. There's probably, see in the actual photograph, as you see there, the light's shining on him, so I'm not quite sure what is behind him, but it's not, it's probably when he's giving a speech or, right, let's get a bit more. See, I've shifted the neck round now, it makes sense, it doesn't look like I've just bolted a bit on. And the way you do that really is using the same brush, using these different tones. Your brush then starts to have a nice mix of stuff. He says, I haven't just got it too dark there. Nice mix of stuff. So I can use these darks to put another little emphasis on this side of the ear. A bit more in the mouth here while I'm at it. So you can just move these. I put too much paint on there, more than I wanted to, but I can use it elsewhere. So there's never a mistake really in painting. It's just make use. I need these colours, I need these, yes, and I wanted, like I said, I realised that I have painted the eyes, you know, you go away and you think of these things and dream about it, you know, how you can't do it and all this sort of stuff. Just like in every endeavour of meaning, there's these moments, aren't there? So all of these subtleties make a big difference, right? And here I've got like a, let's pick up some of this dark here. I can move that around. Actually, I'm going to spread this around and put some light with it. So I've got this grey, which I wanted to have anyway. So it's going to be fine. So those dark marks will just infer a little bit more give it a little bit. The darks, it's like Payne's grey that I'm using there. So here I just want to put a bit more dark there. And now actually here, because I kind of moved this neckline just round a bit. So it gives this, so we can see where the edge, see the edge, I've actually added about 3 or 4 millimeters to the side of his head there. So when I move it, I just need to sort out this stuff here. So if I get some light here, I'm still just using a small brush. This is very light grey. Using the Payne's grey, which I didn't really mean to put there, but this should, now I should be able to get more definition. So with this tiny little brush, I'll have a look at it, and then this way I can just work this in here. And get a little bit of this There. So I've got the dark in with a bit of brown and nice. Now that's much more to my liking. Now I just want to work on this a little bit over here. I'll get some yellow ochre. I'll get the dark colour that I've got already there, so it's like a sort of darker brown. I just want to This just goes down a little bit further. A bit darker there. A little bit sort of right there, that tiny bit of warm white on the top of his lip there, and then a bit more of it there. It's like yellow ochre and light yellow ochre with warm white, just gently. That's lifted, so that's really lifted that. Now I'm going to move this actually down there because I just want to tidy up this. Now I've got much more right, so to the edge of there, to there. Oh, it's not bad actually. I sort of kind of sorted this bit out yesterday. I think I've done a fairly good job actually. Fairly good job. So there we go. So I'm just going to finally just work through the hairline with some dark stuff, and I think I'm there. So this painting's probably taken me a bit longer than most. It's difficult to evaluate really, because sometimes I can paint. It's not like making a car, is it? Like each paint, some paintings I can do really much quicker than others. And there's no particular reason, not that any painting's any easier than any other, to be honest. It's nothing to do with that. It's about me, it's about the time, it's about my relationship with the person, with this case Nelson Mandela. It's a very powerful character. It's about lots of factors. So it's kind of timeless operation. it's outside of the time game. However, my guess is about 40 hours. So, you know, if I charge for this painting, if someone does buy it, which it's not an order, it's not a commission, I just like to keep painting, to keep learning. I have sold quite a few paintings that I've just painted in this way. This painting, you see, I should really sell it for £1,000, and that's for 40 hours work. Is what I should sell it for, but I'll be pleased if I get £300 at this stage in my career. When I become ultimately supremely famous, it will be worth it a lot more, of course. But at the moment, I'm just famous. And it's not really the issue. The issue is, right, now that line goes right the way over there. So I'm just trying to tidy up his forehead. Now there's a line there too. Now, by now, I've got enough paint on the canvas so that it actually really works nicely. And I'm using high quality linen as a substrate. It's worth, you get what you pay for. And it's at this stage of the painting where you really feel the benefit of having a good substrate to work on, especially with portraits. I find it's really, when you get into this point of, right, I've got a nice, I've already got some lines, I've painted these lines loads of times, and because I've painted them loads of times, you know, it looks like I'm doing it like freehand, isn't it? But actually, I've painted these probably 100 times before I've got to this point. Now I've got, I just want to, and now I just need to blend them in a bit. By using warm white again. Just apply the warm white a little bit above the line. Grab my brush stand, go back and let's get some reds and browns on it as well in a minute. A bit grey, isn't it? A bit grey. Right, where's my pinky bit? Pink-ish. Let's just use another brush. Good plan. Right, pinky bits. With yellow ochre. I want to get a bit more there, but Sort of a bit extreme, isn't it? Yes, more light. Right, bit of different brush again. Bit of warm white. Bit more light in there, like here. Warm white, I said. Yeah. So putting a powder onto the cameras. Right, Nelson, just putting the just brush out what I've got on the brush. I think it's just about there actually. There we have it. There was a nice quiet 5 minutes. So there we have it. Nelson Mandela, I think he's pretty well there. He's looking good. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. It's quite relaxing, isn't it? In fact, I was nearly falling asleep myself. So it's PTLARTS.com. Thumbs up if you like what you're watching. I'm going to be loads of painting. Now the thing is it's not that I want to teach painting. It's just watch what I do, pick up some tips from me, employ it into your own practice. You know, that's actually what it's about. I realise that is what it's about. Have a look at my site if you like my paintings. They're all for sale. The ones I haven't sold, of course. And there's prints and watercolours and all sorts on PTLARTS.com. So thanks very much.